Well, the farmer's come back from his holidays. Yes! And he has done the fields. He has harvested all of the grain, so we have stubble on some, and he has ploughed some. So we're going to have a go today on this one behind me. It's just a little one, but we've never been over in this corner before. Very, very back of it is where that ancient trackway is, so maybe on that edge we might find more interesting things, but we'll have to wait and see where we find stuff in relation to the field and where we know things are in this location. So join me, Laurie, and let's take the Simplex out and see what we can find today. So I have kept my cover off because I didn't want the problem with the glare again, though I have gone back to the chest harness rather than on the Simplex harness because I think it just makes people a bit too seasick. Well, it made me seasick looking at it anyway. So we'll get the Simplex turned on. We have the SP24 coil on it. You can see there, the little small one for nice separation. I do have a 13 inch, and I have the stock coil. But I'm going to use this one first because it's my favorite. So we'll start out in field. I don't know if you can see, if we lean over, that takes it out a bit. So we'll start off in field. I think we'll go up to full sensitivity. We have 4 bars of power. We have 0 mineralization that we can see. And I will ground balance it, and we will get out here. And I can tell you now, looking at this, it is going to be a leg day. Look at that ploughed. Yep, I'm definitely going to have sore legs tonight. But let's hope we find lots of cool things while we were out there. So let's get her ground balance. So let's get her onto a bit that is clear. And get you tipped down so you can see what I'm doing. So nothing there. So we push this button on the right once, twice. That's put us onto the ground balancing. We hold this one down. 1, 2, 3. 62.4 is where we have ground balanced on this field. So we back up out of that. We are ready to go. Let's get set up and let's get going. So it looks like Gavin the Rascal's already found the treasure while we have been getting set up, and I've been talking to you. I will find out from him in a little bit what that is that he has discovered. But in the meantime, we are ground balanced. Let's set off on this field, and let me tip the camera down just a bit more so you can see the end of the Simplex, and let's go see what she's sounding like. That's iron, even though there's a squeak to it. That's just the edge of the iron. We don't want that. Again, more iron, probably a nail. Iron. That is an interesting sound. That is, I'm not too sure about it. It's coming in at the low 90s. And we're getting an iron grunt on it on this side. So I think for you guys, I'm going to dig this up so we can see what it is, so you can get in your heads. What does an iron grunt sound like? How do you differentiate big iron out? Because that squeak sounds really nice. And I am separating it from the iron, but there's a tiny grunt creeping in. When we go this way, there's just a bit more iron. So, having dug all that out and gone through all of it, one nasty little bit of nail. So that was obviously catching really, really closely on one of these points, which was giving us that bright signal, but when we turned, we got the grunt of iron. So that tells us the sounds that we need to listen for. Always check your signal is clear on 2 directions at least before you dig it up. Obviously, when you're a beginner, you dig everything because you just need to learn what these signals sound like. But this one was a nasty old nail. Let's go see what else we can find. So I've just come all the way down the edge of that field and I have found nothing but bits of iron. I think it must be remains of an old fence line. So I've decided to try this angle and head down here. You can see from the way the ploughing looks that the edge has been recently ploughed. That's not something that's been ploughed before. See all the big roots and grass in it? Whereas that's the old edge of the field there. So there might be lots of nice new interesting stuff in here, and there might be lots of iron that have been turfed out of the field by the farmer. We'll have to give it a go. It's definitely going to be harder walking. The only thing I wanted to add was that bit down there. One of the other things I could have done to check the signal was to switch it over to park mode, either 1 or 2, just to check and see if I could get separation between that squeaky signal and the iron. If it was 2 things next to each other, it's a faster speed, so it might have let me know that it was a nail rather than being something next to a nail, for instance. I've dropped my sensitivity down 1 bar because there is so much iron. I am still keeping it on field for depth, but I may change that, and if I come across a signal, I will check it in park just to make sure that it's, you know, if it's got a slight grunt behind it or I'm unsure, and I will film that for you. So let's go. So we have our first bona fide signal. It sounds suspiciously like an old aluminium can. It's coming up 70, but if I lift the coil, it's not still up here, so it is fairly low down. It says it's 2 bars deep. It's 69 to 70. It is 2 directional. So let's have a look with the pinpointer and see what we can find out. We'll bring this on. Right, it's just in there. This is all loose stuff, so that's why I didn't get the spade out. It's not that deep. It should be fairly easy to get to. There we go. And fancy that. It's an old buckle. That's very cool. I'm happy with that. That is, I can't tell if that's blacksmith forged or more modern. Certainly doesn't look that modern to me. It's got a real heft to it, and I think something more modern would be lighter weight, so, and more rusty. But anyway, that's our first actual proper find. That was a 6970 from both directions, and Plexi picked it up no problem. So that is in this bit along the edge that has not been detected before because it has been grassland. So let's keep going and hope to find something else. Oh, okay, so this is it's a bit jumpy, but it is sitting in those mid-40s. We can get it from 2 directions. It's not up here, not here, not there, not there, so it's quite small, it's just in there. So, let's put Plexi over here. See if we can see, is it just in the top here? Oh, I think it is. I think it's going to be that nasty bit of foil just there. But let's check, always check, make sure that is the signal that you got. I'm absolutely certain it is, but yeah, that's all it was. On to the next. Right, we've come almost the whole width of the field, and all we've had is that bit of aluminium and that buckle. There has not been much iron at all, certainly on the inside of the newly ploughed verge. I can't say about towards the fence, but certainly on the inside, not been a lot of iron at all. I now have a signal, nice and solid. So again, high to mid-60s there, you can hear what it sounds like. It says it's 2 to 3 bars deep. Let's have a look at it. One of the things that I did want to mention about this field is that it is bone dry. So we will not be getting the depth of penetration with the detector that we would if the soil was moist, because the water acts as a conductor, and we definitely do not have that right now. But we have a signal, so let's see what this is. So because of the lack of moisture in the soil, we will only be getting, you know, the easiest finds, really. The deeper, more difficult ones will not be showing up because you won't be able to, it won't be able to get through to them with the lack of moisture in the soil. So we're getting the stuff that's at the top end. I have no idea what that is. That is a bit of something. It's very heavy. It has notches on it there. It looks like it indents there. It has a line, so it is cast, so it's fairly modern, but I have no idea what that is. It's really, really heavy. If you know, please tell me. I'll clean it up and see if there's actually a tube in there, or that's just solid and it's just got a bit of dirt on it. So I've now turned and I'm heading along the old ancient trackway, which is just over there. I'm swinging slowly. I put the sensitivity back up to full because, as you can see, it's quite a deep plough, disturbance. So I'm just taking my time. I'm making sure that I cover every bit, back and forth slowly, because it's field, but we have this signal. So it is solid as a rock, mid-60s. Let's have a look together and see if we can see what it is. Get the pinpointer first. Let's, Plexie's become very, very chattery, so we're just going to mute her. I am not using the pulse dive today. The battery was flat, so I grabbed this one instead. Pinpointers work as well as each other, so it says it's just in here, so we're going to just keep. This is very, very soft. I would never use my pinpointer as a digging tool, but because this is so soft, it's not going to harm it. Okay, I have no idea what that is. That is, I believe, a chunk of lead. Hold on, I have a toothbrush, I think, somewhere in all the many pockets of my fishing vest and all the wonderful things that I keep. I have a toothbrush, but it's figuring out which pocket I unzip to get to it. No, but I also have a little water scorcher thing, so let's go with that instead, eh? Right, let's get the camera sorted out so we can see what's happening. And I don't know if it's got any decoration on it or not. If it is just a piece of a wheel balance, or it's anything more important. I mean, it does have a big groove in it, but I think that's where something has hit it. I don't think that is any kind of a hole. No, I think it is a chunk of lead. Something has hit. It's got those same stripe marks, so I think this is related to that other chunk of lead we had. And we'll see if we can figure out if they are related. Interesting. Let's keep moving. Right, we're not too far from that lead. We got this really interesting signal that is just very loud and very consistent. So let's check it out. It's there. We have a very old beaver tail. Now, I'm not as good as the detectorist, so I can't tell you what the vintage of that is. It may not actually even be a beaver tail, though I think it actually is, but it's old. Anybody have any ideas on that one? Let me know in the comments. Well, we've caught up with Gavin. We're going to see what treasures he's found.
Right.
What have you got?
I have coinage.
You have coinage?
Which is always an absolute bonus.
Absolutely, I thought I had a coin, but it was a shotty end.
I just got a shotty there just beforehand.
It was, hold on, let me quiet this thing down. There we go.
I managed to just get one bloody button.
Oh, I haven't had any buttons either. I got a buckle.
A buckle?
I got a buckle. Yeah, I got a buckle.
Okie dokie. Right then. We have what I think is going to turn out to be a penny.
Okay.
I haven't
Do we have a monarch?
I think it's Victorian. Okay. I haven't really gone into it in great depth. That's a Victorian halfpenny there.
Definitely Victorian.
Victorian halfpenny there, yep.
Okay, we've got it upside down. There we go. You can see Britannia sitting there on the rock or the wheelchair, or however you want to view it yourselves. And this one
on a wheelchair.
Oh, there's a date on there. Now, can I see it without my reading glasses on?
Yeah, that's the problem. I haven't got my reading glasses with me.
I do have mine with me.
Such an old git.
I will get them out and I will put them on. Right then. Oh, that's kind of thin looking. That is sort of the thinness we want to see in a coinage from a field here. Let's see, I do have my reading glasses, so let's see. These are, get the camera on them. That one is an 1896 halfpenny. And you're right, that is a young bunhead. And she is 1862. 1862, that one. And 1890, so 30 years reign of Queen Victoria. There you go, you've got a young lass with the bunhead, and then you have the veiled head of the widow.
How about
there
that?
There we go, right
one
through the reign.
One end to the other.
Yeah, so let's see your thin thing you have. So, okay, take those two, please. Okay, right. Oh, there is some silver coming up on that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So is this your button?
No. I think it is.
Yes, that is a button.
Yeah,
yes, because I can see there's where the shank goes right there.
Yeah.
And it's got fancy, as Todd from Appalachian History Detectors would say. It's got fancy on the back. Really nice fancy, actually.
Yeah, hasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
Nice.
And then it is actually silver plated. You can see there. And can't tell much on the front. I think it's got a flower just there. I think you've got a flower button. It's a lovely thing.
And that's the one that is just a bog standard bloody button.
And then you have a tomback button, which, you know, when we first started detecting, we got so excited about these because the way that this shank is fixed to this button, these are 18th century. These are very old, well, relatively, and we used to just get so excited that we were holding something in our hands that was so many years old. And then we've come to realize that they're actually quite common here. Now in the US, these are very a huge reason to get excited, because this indicates that the site is a colonial site as opposed to a post-Civil War site.
True.
But for here, it's early settlement, and yeah, I can't see anything. I'm not seeing any design on it.
No, I think it's plain.
It's what's called a tomback button, but that shank definitely indicates that it is early. And so, yes, if you are a new detectorist, this is an exciting find. It's just when you get to be old and jaded like Gavin is, that he's not bothered about it. You know, oh, what's a button that's, 300 years old? Who cares? And that your haul?
I've got a pound coin.
And you got a modern pound coin or an old modern pound coin?
An old modern.
Old modern pound coin, the ones you have to take to the bank.
Yes, exactly.
And it's a pound.
Yes.
That's indeed. Well, we've been along there, which is, they've actually ploughed out the verge. So we've gone on the inner line of the verge in the field, and that's where we found the buckle. It's fairly quiet. Along that line of the field, it's very irony, lots of bits of the old fence, I think. But quite quiet along there, and as I said, we found the buckle. We found two interesting pieces of lead that have some sort of striation on them that I'm not sure, so we need to put them together and see if they're related to each other, sort of along. But that's it so far. Just sort of checking this field out because we've never done it before, so I like to go around the edges and see what I can find before I just venture out in the middle. Though a dog walker told me that all the treasure and all the history is out in the middle. The tractors dragged it out there, and that's where I should be. So perhaps we'll take a diagonal back to the car in the water bottle and see what we can find in the middle of the field.
Definitely do with a cup.
Yes, so onwards and downwards. Nope, iron. I think we'll go back down to one less bar of sensitivity. Too much grunts in that. I had done this earlier and I forgot to tell you, and then when I was letting you listen to a signal, you would have noticed, those keen-eared of you would have noticed that the tones weren't right, and that's because I had switched from field when I was checking something, and I didn't mention it when I was doing it, so I'm mentioning it now. Okay, now. So what I've just done there is I have switched it down 1 bar. I was on field 1, but I was on full sensitivity. That's why you were getting that sort of grunty, sparky sounds. I've just switched it down 1 bar, but I wanted to let you know what it was that I had done that suddenly made it change sound. I'm always adjusting my settings as I'm out here, always playing about. When I get something, especially as Gavin says, when there's so much iron in this field, what's going to be the best setting? See, there's a nail right there. I don't know if you can see that, but there is a nail just there. I'll plonk that one out. So that was just on the top, but we could hear sort of how the machine was grunting, but it was also getting some bright, sparky sounds too. And I think there are a lot in here, so what I'm listening for, I'm listening for a really crisp, clear sound that is more than one direction without a grunt of iron behind it. You know it when you hear it. You heard it on the buckle. Unfortunately, you heard it on the beaver tail bit of aluminium as well. But that's a crisp, clear sound. Now, when you first start out, you should dig everything. Even those ones that are irony, because, right, that's unmistakable. No iron, little jumpy, but no iron, no behind that. So we go up here at the top of the signal. Side of the signal, bottom of the signal, this side. There it is. I can actually see it. It's poking out. I believe that is the end of like a walking stick or something. But we will clean it up. We'll put it in the end. I found one of these before, and like a what do they call them? The sticks that they use for horses and things. Gavin knows what the name of it is. We shall check with him in a moment.
This is all rather civilized, isn't it?
Yeah.
Nice cup of tea after you're detecting and looking out over the fields where you've been searching for treasure, of which we haven't found any today, unfortunately. Though Gavin has done better than I have. He took the line that sort of went along the roadway, and then a bit along the path, and then I took the line along the other fence line, another fence line, and then just only a little bit along the path. And obviously you were more successful with your coins and
I mean
your buttons.
it's I mean I'm always very happy when I find coins. That's my thing really. It's
so materialistic you are.
no, I just like, I mean coins, I suppose, coins are great because you can just, as soon as you get them out, you immediately, well, in case it turns out to be a bloody button, you're immediately onto something that is going to give you a date and a particular point in time, which that's the thing I find exciting. And apart from the fact that this was sat in somebody's pocket or their little kind of their little coin bag or something, if you're going back further in time, because some of the coins we find going back into the 1600s and things. I mean, unfortunately, as you've said many times, we don't find a lot of like hammers and stuff like that, but we're not far off it though, and some of the things we've found, that's for sure.
Well, they're the same time period, they're just not the right denomination.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They've been picked clean previous to us being on these fields, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we found lots of bobbies and
Turners
and things, which once again, they are absolutely within that same, that same and kind of to a certain, sometimes sort of like even older time period. But yeah.
But when you've got a poor area, that's what people had, not silver hammers, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So what we've got today is a lot of iron stuff, a lot of bits of barbed wire fence, and a lot of aluminium, and iron brew seems to be a popular favourite of whoever was in the tractor, because we've got cans of those. We've got the always required shotty end. We have the buckle that we found initially, and I still haven't looked at it close enough to see if it is blacksmith forged, but it's definitely old. It's not a
That's off some kind of horse tag, I
recent
think.
one. Yeah, it's a
horse
horse
tag.
one, and it's not recent, so it's at least Victorian. That one. We have our old beaver tail. Again, I can't tell you how old, but it's definitely not one of the more recent ones.
Circa 1980s, 1970s, eh?
No, I think it's older than that.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Cool.
Got patina on it anyway. Some sort of rivet or shot cap little thing, tiny little thing. This I just picked up as I was walking back. Shows you the age of the field. You look at the glass that's actually in it and how thick that is, and the patterns on it, and the inclusions of bubbles and things tells you that, you know, there's really old stuff out here. It's just a matter of finding it. And then something that I dropped, which I'm gonna have to try and walk back and see if I can see it. It almost looked like the end of a spectacle arm, but it was copper alloy, and it was very, very thin. It was not the end of a spectacle arm, it just had that sort of curve and shape to it. But I put it in the pocket of my fishing vest, and unfortunately it's come out through this net. So it's dropped because I had taken the whole thing apart. Where is it? Where is it? It's just not there.
Catastrophe.
So yes, and I wasn't sure about that because looking at it, I just thought, I don't know what this is, but it looks old to me.
Yeah.
So, and then we have these two bits of lead, which have these striations in them that I showed you on camera. I have had a go with the brush, and it does not have a hole that goes all the way through. This one that has the chunks as we saw on camera, that where it's been hit by something, has the same patterns of stripes on it. So I will give these to Gavin and he can have a look, but I have no idea what they are.
Thank you.
Look at those. And then this thing that we found that all that's coming to mind is Prancy stick, and it's definitely not that. But Gavin will remember what this is called. On the end of one of those sticks, you know.
Oh yeah. It's a military.
Yes, it's a military thing.
Swagger stick.
Swagger stick, not
That's
Prancy, but swagger. Okay, yeah, well, prance, swagger.
I'm going to say the military don't prance. I'll have you know. That's you know, you have your sergeant major and he swaggers.
Yes. Okay. Well. So it's either that or it's some sort of a shape for the end of a holster of some sort. But I have found something that looked like this before, and it was definitely off of a swagger stick. So
yes,
whether that's what that is or not, it doesn't appear to have anything on it that I can see, but I will have a look and see about cleaning it up and see if we can get anything more. But that's it. Gavin found one more tiny little button on his way back.
Yeah, nothing much to see, unfortunately. It's just another Tomback button, you know, which, you know, are very much what we are, you know, looking for when we're heading out onto the fields. It's a piece of, you know, it's a bit of, you know, personal. It's a personal item that would have been, you know, attached to somebody's clothing. So it is. I mean, it is exciting. It's just I prefer things like I like military buttons because they've got actually something to them, and once again you can identify it and you know where it's come from. Whereas a Tomback like that, I mean, I know you can't really see that.
But remember, see the breeches, you know, and they have the line of buttons here, or the lines of buttons on the coat, you know.
Or on there.
That gives you the age of that, and thinking about somebody prancing around in their sort of, you know, 18th century.
Absolutely, they can prance.
It's quite, yes, they can prance.
Not
indeed.
the military though.
And I will still hold that I have found one of Gavin's bucket lists that he hasn't yet, and that is Royal Artillery cap badge from World War I/II, which was just over there actually. So probably we were wondering about it being in the field. Then we thought about how kids take things and dress up and play, and that probably some kid.
Yeah, probably Daddy came back from the war, And he obviously came back with his uniform, and then his uniform got sort of like hung up in the wardrobe, and then you know, the new son sort of like grows up and it's kind of like wants to see daddy's uniform and sees daddy's cap with his badge, and then somewhere along the line the badge comes off, and then he's out playing in the fields with it and drops it, gets trod down into the mud, and then never seen again until you got it.
Till I got it.
Yeah.
So I'll put a photo up now of what it looks like, and there wasn't much else on that hunt, but yeah, that's really it for today. It's very, very overcast, but it's warm, as you can tell, and at least it's not raining, so I'm going to drink my tea, and then we'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.